we have a bonus question for you. We could see from behind you and obviously from our interview with you that you have an extensive collection of hymn books. Roughly about how many do you have, and which ones do you find yourself reaching for the most often?
Okay, so I probably have 7,000 books all total, but hymnals, actually the ones behind me aren't hymnals so much. They're downstairs. I'll send you a little picture if you want to share it, with your subscribers. Gosh, I don't know, 500, 1,000.
Okay.
Mostly older ones. I really have avoided 20th century songbooks. They're just so many, and I don't find them as helpful for what I'm looking for. I don't want to get into hymns that are still copywritten, because then I'd be limited in what we could do with them. So I've stuck to public domain text. And I've also tried to really look for songs that have dropped out of use.
Yes.
Right. And then even going beyond hymnals, like, can I find Henry Light's collected works, to find even hymns he wrote that never made a hymnal. So I have a lot of those things as well. Yeah. So I've always been kind of a book collector. And I guess over the years I've learned a lot about hymnals and collecting them. I do post those pictures sometimes on my Instagram too.
Yeah, I love it because I also have too many books.
Do you? Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine how many books I'd have if I was in the UK and could shop for books over there. That's a dream, but I don't know how I would be able to get them all back to the States either.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite out of all your many hymnals?
So the that John Rippon collection, 1806 one is a particular favorite because that's where I discovered Anne Steele. I think like these. So I showed you the Anne Steele, the volume 2. This is the first 3-volume, complete edition. So she published her hymnals in her hymns in a 2-volume set in 1769. When she died, they reprinted those 2 volumes and added a 3rd posthumous volume. That's the 1789, and that's what that is. Okay. So those 3 volumes, that's the first complete edition of Anne Steele. That's definitely a particular treasure. And then this 1808 Boston edition is all of the 3 volumes, but it's bound in 2. But it's the full material. So those are pretty favorite. But if you'll see, like my library, there's tons of hymnals that just have little slips of paper. So these days I've learned I need to have acid-free, paper that I cut into little strips so they don't hurt these old books. And so I'll just read through the books, and when I find texts that I feel really grab me, I'll mark them. And then when it feels like it's time to put together a record, I will pull those out, Xerox them, and send them to some of my students. And we'll have little hymn writing days where people split into small groups, and I'll give them some tips and give them some texts, and they go off in a corner and work on some songs. And that's kind of how we do it. And then we bring everybody back together and try out the new hymn tunes in a living room with one guitar. And if it works well for congregational singing, then we might put it on a record one day.
It sounds really fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, again, like Belmont is half music students or music business majors. So I feel like there's kind of maybe a responsibility to serve the broader church in that way as well.
I hope you enjoyed that bonus clip from the most recent episode of the Hymnpartial podcast. Make sure you go over to hymnpartial.com to sign up for our free weekly newsletter. And if you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and hit subscribe and ring the bell so that you don't miss another episode.